We are now joined by the head coach of the Texas A&M Kingsville Javelinas. I just think of you as a Texas high school football coach who got a promotion. He's Mike Salinas. Coach, how are you?
Good. Excited to be here today, and I think this is a great event. Glad for some normality coming back into play. I know you guys have had a busy couple weeks. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, look, I'll start with this. You are a Texas high school football coach at heart, by blood. You're now there at A&M Kingsville. Obviously, 2020 was its own thing, but how has that transition been from, going from the high school game to college?
Obviously, there's been some challenges, especially with the pandemic. That's been the biggest one. But getting back to Kingsville, a place that I'm back now for the third time. I was there as a player and there as a coach in the early 2000s, so it's neat to get back. And I know how special that place is and how special it was for me, how much it meant to me. So now it's just getting in there and now selling ourselves and our program and tradition to some recruits, and that's been the unique and fun part of the job so far.
Well, you guys, this is your first normal season. Let's knock on wood. It's your first normal season there with the Javelinas after an 0-2 season in the spring. How is the vibe different? How is the attitude around the locker room? How are things different maybe now? I don't even want to compare it to last year, but even just since you've seen here, since you've been at Kingsville.
I think the spring was really beneficial. Hats off to our admin for doing the things necessary to get us to compete and then for our players to stay safe. But we found a lot about each other as a football team. I think our guys understand the importance now of buy-in and how close sort of we are. I think it's going to take some time because this is a competitive league with a ton of great coaches and talent in this league has definitely been upgraded. So we have a challenge in front of us, but I think our guys are anxiously awaiting and probably anticipating this year more than ever.
Well, and you guys are in a bit of a roster reload, let's call it. You guys are in a bit of a roster churn. A lot of new faces for this Javelina squad. Who has you excited? Who are guys that you get up and you think, man, this guy could be a real big-time player, like a household name, somebody we're talking about at the end of the season?
I think there's a couple transfers that had come in and had a spring. There's some that came and had to sit for the spring. But to start off at defensive line, we got a 6-year player at defensive end, Jeremy Clarkson, who's going to plays with a high motor and plays extremely hard. I think is going to be really productive for us. We have another D tackle named Tavita Munga, who's a transfer from BYU, who we're expecting great things out of this fall. And then you met one today, Corey Lewis, who's a grad transfer for us at linebacker. So there's going to be a few more new faces in the back end and at linebacker that we're excited about defensively. And then offensively, we had a lot of guys returning at the wide receiver position. So excited about getting Ty Chisholm back and Darian Hambrick at wide receiver, probably our most experienced group. And then at running back, we have a guy that was sort of waiting, Tennille Carter, transfer from the University of Texas, and also just got Josh McGowan, who was a transfer from Stephen F. Austin, grad transfer, who did a great job for those guys up there. So the list goes on, but again, all that is lip service to this point. We got to get out in the fall and put it all together.
Well, it's funny because you mentioned the defensive guys and the defensive ends and the front and the linebackers, but for me, I look at your roster, and you, by all means, you know the roster better than I do. I feel like the strength of your defense right now feels like it's in the back end. It feels like at the secondary, you got some guys you can really lean on back there. Is it fair to say that when I think that the defense is going to start from the back and forward, is that how you're feeling as well?
I think our most competitive room is going to be the defensive back room. Amos Coleman is coming back at one corner spot. Jeff Laverne sat. He's going to compete for a starting job. Isaiah Jacobs at safety and Darian Warner at safety, plus an addition of a couple transfers that we got here this summer coming in to compete in the secondary room is going to be tough. It's going to be a very competitive room, and those guys understand that. I think they're going to embrace it. They're going to help each other get better.
And finally, Coach, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that, you're the second most notable alumnus in your own house, because your wife Leslie Zambrano is a Hall of Famer there in Kingsville for the softball side. I guess my question, is there pressure? Is there more pressure to win coming from within the walls of your own home, knowing that you've got the Hall of Famer sitting there in the living room?
She does. I got a great wife. She understands it. She gets it. She's very independent. She knows what we got ourselves into, and I think it's equally as important to her. The task and the challenge we have in front of us. We take great pride in our university. It was really good to us, and we just want to get back and do our job to put a product on the field that all of Javelina Nation can be proud of.
Well, it's I think y'all are the most exciting team. I think. I hope no other coaches here. I think I'm most excited to see you guys play because with all due respect, the spring season was so strange and just truncated and things that I've been excited since you arrived in Kingsville to see what your boys can do. It feels like this is our first real glimpse of it. So I'm really excited to see what you guys do, and can't wait to see your Javelinas take the field.
I appreciate it. Thank you for the time, and again, we're looking forward to getting with our guys in August or here in a couple weeks, and just anxiously awaiting the start of this year.
Coach, really appreciate your time, my friend. Best luck.
Thank you.
Right. There he goes, Mike Salinas, the head coach of the UT or A&M Kingsville Javelinas.
Thanks so much for watching that video. If you would like more and to be notified when they come out, go ahead and click that subscribe button right down there. You can also watch Texas Football Today every day live at noon on TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, and right here on YouTube. For more of the best coverage of Texas football in the Lone Star State, go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe.